Body, speech, and mind held in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow.
Ba nghiệp lắng thanh tịnh, gửi lòng theo tiếng chuông. Nguyện người nghe tỉnh thức, vượt thoát nẻo đau buồn.
Good evening, my dear brothers, sisters, and friends. Today is Friday, March 28, 2014. We are having our weekly mindfulness session. How are you this evening? I hope you have some time to rest, relax your body and your mind during the sitting meditation and walking meditation. Meditation means when you're able to enjoy your present moment. So meditation is not only when you sit or you walk, but you're able to live happily, peacefully, and mindfully in each moment you have. And this is what we call the right view. Right view is one of is the first of the 8 noble paths. We have some ways in order to practice, in order to attain enlightenment. And right view is the first thing we suppose and we should cultivate. Otherwise, the opposite of the right view is the wrong view. The wrong view means we live in the present moment, but we did not recognize the present moment. We are suffering about the past. We are worried for the future. And we are not we are live in the present moment, but we are not truly there for the present moment. We thinking about the past, we pursue the future, and we lose ourselves in the present moment. And when we lose ourselves in the reality, in the present moment, that means we did not see, we did not cultivate how to look and how to view the present moment. The right view will help us to see things more clearly as they are. And we will accept things easily. And we will let go things easier. Of course, in this life, there are things we attach. And when we have the right view to shine clearly on each of what we have attached, and we will realize they are useless. There is nothing help us enable. If the more we attach, the more we just increase our suffering. Cannot help anything. And it helps us to reduce the percentage of attachment. And then we can release some of what we attach in our heart, in our mind. And that will help us to live and accept easier. And when you accept easier, you can live happier. The word practice means we try to do something. So to update our life, to update our understanding, to update our practice, to make ourselves better. If we fall in the situation of suffering, we do not want to stay here forever. So we want to do something so we can step out of the suffering situation. And this is what we call practice. So when we have something that bother our mind, and we cannot have peace, we cannot have relax, we cannot have joyful when we live, and we know that become the ignorance. We need to end the ignorance. We need to cut off the net of ignorance. And we need to walk away. We need to move away from mistakes. Mistakes, sometimes we did not make mistakes to anyone, but we have done a lot of mistakes on ourselves because we don't have the right view. We did not see what to do in order to make us happier. We did not talk about our loved one yet. Just about for ourselves, we still have no peace at all because we did not have the insight to view things more clearly in order to able to let go things that have heavy us for a long time. If we're unable to drop off the worries or many stones and rocks in us, and how can we help the others to walk? Because we heavy ourselves, we're unable to walk nicely. So when you practice walking meditation, this is one of the ways to help you to go back to the present moment. When you walk, you don't have to worry what time will be done. The session will be done at 8, so no matter we walk, we sit, or we listen, we still have 1.5 hours, so don't worry what is next. The thing is, enjoy your 1.5 hour here peacefully. And if we're able to have that kind of insight, we are meditation. So meditation, not only whether you sit or you walk, but you're able to enjoy anything happen in this life. When you write a letter, you put your heart into each of your words. And after you've done a letter to send to someone, and you have a chance to reflect on your words, and you will feel your letter contain much of love in there, much of insight in there. In the past, when we're angry, we just write things down, we just speak up. But we never have the right view on our words. We never have the right view on our action. That's why the more we do it, the more we walk into the dark. And we also bring a lot of people that related to the situation together. We all walk into the dark. Practicing means to have an intent to walk away from the dark, to step out of the dark. If we recognize that we have lived in the dark and don't just sit there. We used to say, I'd rather become a small flame like a match rather than I would sit in the dark and blame the dark forever. If you sit in the dark and you blame the dark forever, then why don't we just become a small flame like a match, still better than totally dark? A small flame of the match, unable to do anything, but at least that small flame help us to see where is the switch so we can turn the lights on. When we walk into the dark, we don't know where is the switch. But with thanks to the match, it helps us to see where it is. So that is the right view about life and how we live. There are many ways to help us to cultivate the right view. But basically, we have 4 practices. First, we practiced to inform that life is impermanent. And not only our human body, but anything is become a foam, then nothing will stay there forever. They will change, but not only by day, but by second. Because if we don't have 60 seconds, we don't have a minute. We don't have 60 minutes, we will not have an hour. We don't have 24 hours, we will not call a day. We don't have a day, we cannot call a week. We don't have 1 week, 2 weeks, we cannot call a month. We don't have 12 months, we cannot call a year. We cannot have 100 years in order to call a full lifespan. So therefore things change slowly in seconds. If we reflect on ourselves, our body, we also can recognize we change. Not only year, but we change by second. Everything changed. The world, the universe, the planet, anything changed. If you reflect clearly, and you will see the weather also changed. The global warming, many things that happen. So when we have the insight about impermanent, doesn't mean to make us suffer or sad, but to help us to live more happy, more accept. And we will learn how to appreciate our loved one. We learn how to appreciate anything we have. So when we have the right view about impermanent, and this is one of the right view, we don't see anything wrong about life, but we see absolutely right about life and things. And we understand that is nothing can be expected. Let's say we expect last week we step into spring, so we think no more snow, the weather will be warmer, but nothing can be expected. We have a great teacher in Vietnam. He is 98 years old now. Few days ago, he just have a very minor cold. So the doctor advised that we should bring the teacher to the hospital. So after the treatment, and test, and they say he's okay. His heart, his kidney, his lung, everything fine. So he can discharge. So we brought him back to the temple at 8 in the morning yesterday. About 9:15, we received a news that he passed away. Last night, before I went to the service, I received a news from Vietnam that he's quite ill. And then when during our chanting, we sent our prayer for him. And at the same time we did the service here, he passed away in Vietnam. So after the service, I walked back to my room. And when I hang up my robe, and I received another news from Vietnam that the master is gone. And many news right away, update on the internet. And everybody was shocked. Because he is 98 years old, but he's still healthy. He's still understanding, he doesn't need anyone to comfort him when he walks. And he still can be once a year, all the monks and nuns come to visit him. He still can talk and very healthy. But within few hours, things change. I have witnessed a lot of departs in the members, in the community. When we step in the hospital, he still can talk with us. He's still very understandable. But after a while of visiting, we just step out of to leave. When we arrive to the escalator, the family run after us and say, their father died, their mother died. So this is what we call changing. This is what we call impermanent. So when we reflect and meditate on impermanent, not to make us more suffer, but to help us to have an insight to live. And because of this change, that's why live mindfully, live happily in the present moment. And also appreciate. When you have practiced walking meditation, you also can appreciate every step you can make right in the present moment. Because we have no idea what will happen to us. I have a close member in the state. She come here to attend summer retreat every year. The day before she got stroke. She's still healthy and she still help us to do some writing and everything. On the third day of the retreat, when she stepped down her bed, and she said, "Oh my God, I feel dizzy." And then everybody come and catch her, and she got stroke, and now half of her body died. So things can change fast like that. Learn to live happily with ourselves and with everyone around us. I planned one of my wish that I can come back to Vietnam and pay respect to all the senior teachers that I have, respect them since I was young. But after I left Vietnam, and this is my 29th years, and I haven't had a chance to come back. And all my teachers that I respect, they slowly depart. So therefore, also not only the teachers in Vietnam, but also the teachers in the state, in Canada too. All the senior monks, when they come here, they start to build up the Buddhist community, the temples and everything, and now they're all gone, most of them. So therefore, the first practice about right view is we can have the view on impermanent. The second thing that we're able to cultivate on the right view, and we can view all things are emptiness. Emptiness doesn't mean they totally nothing, but they are not real. Everything up here is only temporary. Nothing will stay and nothing are real. So the word emptiness doesn't mean nothing. But we should understand it means not real. It's not real. Even this body. And when we practice reflecting on this body, and we can say, oh, this body is made by 4 elements. The earth, the water, the heat, fire, and the air. When we breathe in, we need to breathe out. If we breathe in, we stop breathing out. Done. So people will ask, how long is a life? How long of our life? We cannot answer 2 years, 3 years, or whatever year. And the right answer is only in one breath. Again, when we see things are emptiness, to have the right view about all things, to help us not too much attachment, but easy to appreciate. I understand my loved ones are also not real, temporary here for me. So when I still see him, see her, I wholeheartedly will be there for that person. So when you hug someone, don't just hug like a greeting, but you hug with your mindfulness. I am mindful. I am very mindful. This person is here for me to hug. So we can call hugging meditation. You hug this person, but in the past you just hug like a greeting. Instead of shaking hands, hello, but now you just hug. But with the deep practice, you can hug this person with all your attention, with all your heart. And this is what we call meditation. I always explain the meaning of meditation during Friday session. Because this is what I learn and I live. This is what when I walk out here with the Sangha, and I realize there are some new faces. Sometimes they heard the word meditation, but they thought meditation is a technique to sit with your crossed legs, close your eyes, and sit there to quiet your mind or something. But they cannot see how beautiful and how active of the word meditation. So meditation is not only a term. It's not only a teaching, but this is a living, very practical, very reality. I like to sit with my students every dinner because I know that this is the time that I'm able to see all of them after a day at school. I only absent when I really in some situation that I cannot be with them. If not, I will try all my best to be there with them most of the time when I'm home. Because I know the truly time that we are there is be there for each other. So emptiness doesn't mean that life is nothing. So we don't have to do anything. We understand life is temporary. Everything happens just temporary happen. Let's say when we love someone, when we in love, we will say, I love you forever. Is that word forever true? Temporary. When we in love with someone, we're willing to say that. But the word forever, not sure. Because things can change. Love can change. If love with our understanding. If we do not know how to build up the truly relationship, we only come to each other by something else, like passion, like material, like desires, then the relationship is not stable. The relationship is very fragile. So someone, when they have this kind of view, and they will say, please tell me you love me, period. I don't need the word forever. Because sometimes we would trick each other just by that word. Just tell me you love me, that's good enough. Don't let me sit too high on the word of forever and then I will fall down. The higher I fly, the more hurt when I fall down. Everything can be gone in one day. And we have witnessed a lot of disaster happen. Like in Japan, in tsunami, something like that. And a few weeks ago, it happened to a flight from Malaysia. Everything can be happen in a minute. So when we have the right view about impermanence, about the emptiness, this is not the ideal, this is not the lecture, this is not the teachings, but these are the insights. An insight to look at everything as exactly they are. When you look at the flower, even we used to say, this is real flower compared to fake flower. And remember, even it's real flower, what we call, but still fake, because cannot stay there forever. The word real we call is only temporary to compare with fake. But with the right view, we see they both fake. But just the one with fabric is taken a little bit longer than the one with soil, dust, and everything. We look at the old person and the young person. We say, you have a long life. And we look at the old person, he will die soon. Nothing guaranteed. And one of the Zen masters said, if you don't trust me, you go to the cemetery. Walk around and you see there are a lot of monuments. There are people who are very young too. So do not misunderstanding. Death only comes to old people. But the right view will say, death will come to anyone and any time. And because we don't accept. And because we have the wrong view about life, that's why we suffer. If we look deeply, and we will realize that the nature of everything is suffering, even what we call happiness. Let's say if a happy couple, if the right view look at it, they still can realize a happy couple contain the nature of suffering. Because one day if they depart each other, they cannot accept it. They still suffer. So even things successful or not successful, the nature of both still suffering. Because when you're too happy with something and one day you have to depart, one day you have to let it go, you still suffer. And if anything you're never happy with, then you have to make a decision. You will farewell in suffering. The nature of this life, if we look deeply and we still can realize, hate, jealous, greed, ignorance, discrimination, and many, many things. Every places, if we look deeply and we still can define the nature of suffering in there. Let's say if we go to work. If we go at the workplace, is there a nature of suffering? Yes, if that place have no understanding. People bully each other. People have discrimination. Then that is the nature of suffering. Sometimes the co-worker, they're jealous to each other. The workplace becomes suffering. In the family, there are still nature of suffering. If father and mother don't understand each other, they argument every day, they are fighting every day. And the suffering is there. But not only between both of them, but they're also related to children. So we are the connection. So the fourth right view that we have is non-self. There is nothing happen by itself. Everything is related. Everything is related. Let's say when you hurt yourself, you say, I hurt myself. I only suffer by myself. No. When you damage yourself, when you destroy yourself, your parents suffer along with your damaging. When we have the view of no self, the insight of no self will help us to see that nothing in this life that happened by itself. Let's say you want to hear the sounds of the bell. Can the sound of the bell sound it by itself? No. It needs a stick to help the sound sounded, to help the bell sound. It needs the inviter, the one who invites the bell. So you see, just the sound of the bell, you already see three basic conditions. The bell, the stick, and the inviter. I did not talk more detail about the one who makes the bell, the material that makes the bell, and the one who ships the bell. So many, many conditions in order to have the bell. So we cannot say the bell is there by itself. There is no self in anything. Even this rope, if we look deeply, this rope cannot appear by itself. Fabric, the tailor, the threads, the needle, the light, the electric, many, many conditions in order to make the rope. Even when you draw a picture, someone will ask, who draw it? I draw it by myself. It's only a term to use. But yourself is only one condition of the picture. If no paint, no crayons, no color, no paper, no frame, no light, no water, what you are making the picture of? So when we have the insight of no self, and we can see that we are related. And because we are related, that's why we appreciate and we have the responsibility to live mindfully. Because if we are not skillful of living, we may create suffering for ourselves and people surround us. I have the habit of my right hand. I do anything, most of the things I do by my right hand. But my right hand never proud about what it have done. And my left hand will never feel bad about what he haven't done. But let's say I'm writing by my right hand, but my left hand still help me to move the paper, so I can write the words nice and neat. They did not see that they come together to help for one letter to be done. But if we have the right view on the relationship, and we will see the right hand and the left hand working together, very cooperative. One day I tried to nail something on the wall, and I have my left hand to hold the nail, my right hand to hold the hammer. But accidentally, my right hand and my consciousness will allow me to say, do it on the nail. But accidentally, I tap it on my left hand. Automatically, my right hand will drop down, will put down the hammer, and will come to comfort my left hand. The left hand will never complain, hey, what are you doing? Are you blind? And if we have an insight of no self, and we will see that, the right and the left hand working together mindfully like that. No one blame anyone. Like if we have in our family, we have our children, and their life is not happy enough. They may follow some friends, bad friends. They influenced by the bad situation. The mother cannot blame the father. The father cannot blame the mother. They both have to see when this child appears. It's she or he, the child appear by both. And now they have the responsibility is on both, not only one person. Instead of sitting there and blaming each other, things cannot solve. Blaming is not the solution. But instead of that, they will sit down and to find out the right way to help. And this is what we call the right view. So 4 things we can practice in order to inform and to make what is the word meaning, the word right view more clearly. We say right view, but how to view? How to view on things, on life? View on life, view on things with the view of impermanent, with the view of emptiness, with the view of suffering, and with the view of no self. Some of my students, even I taught them since they were young. But when they grow up, they did not turn as what I expect, I hope. Actually, I don't blame them. But I see that they are me. So every time when they come back and visit me, I still can hug them, talk to them, ask them, and support them. Pushing them away cannot help. Let's say if my right hand accidentally make my left hand hurt, the left hand cannot so get angry and fight back with the right. It's only hurt the self. But instead, the right hand will learn how to make the left hand feel more comfortable. One day, there was one of my young students come back, and I asked them, how was your life? What are you doing? And I know when they left their monastic life, and their life is not as easy as they used to live as a monastic life. They have to face and deal with a lot of things. And I told them, remember, Thầy always beside you. Whenever you need Thầy, you can come back. If you need any help, let me know. And and suddenly I see tears on his eyes. And we both hug each other and we both cry. And this is what you see. If we see that now he is not living by himself. If his life is not good, you don't feel good too. So why don't you try to embrace him as much as you can? Until the end you cannot hold anymore, then you have to accept the condition. Everything appears by conditions. The bell is one condition. The stick is one condition. The one who invited is one condition. And many conditions come together. We can hear the sounds of the bell. The teacher that I mentioned that he passed away, to us, he is a great teacher. Even we never have a chance to meet him. But you know that many Buddhist texts in Chinese were translated into Vietnamese by him. I have heard some monks told me his first text that he translated is the Lotus Sutra in 1948. When he learned that his life is short, very weak, and he unable to live more, he will die soon. And he made the vow, instead of sitting here and wait to die, why don't I do something? So he bring the Lotus Sutra out and he start to translate. After he translate the book, he's still alive. He continued to translate another text, and later on, in many years after that, he continued to translate a lot of books, a lot of sutras. He have the goal to live and the goal to work. He never seek for anything, but if anything come, he will do it. Let's say he never seek for a place to build a temple. But one day, people come to him. There was a couple come to him and say, I want to offer you this land, so for you to build a temple. So what he did, he accepted the donation, the land, and he built a small temple. He did not walk around to call for to do any collection to build big temple. And he just sit in his temple and practice, but people respect his practice and his merits, and they come to donate, and he build big temple. So one of his goal is he is not seeking for anything. But if the conditions come, he will do things wholeheartedly. And in my life, even I did not learn that from him, but myself, somehow I have created one of that way for my practice and my living too. I don't plan to have a Westlock Center. I don't plan to build the Avalokiteshvara statue, but everything come to me. Then I have to take the position and the work. And last week, one of the members from Calgary, he came to me and said, Thầy, why you create a lot of work? It will bother you. And I said, no. I did a lot of work, but nothing will bother me because things will come. And I do it. And I know I only have 2 hands and 1 head. I will do everything based on what I have. But I don't have any expectation when will be done. I travel a lot to give retreat and lectures, but I never mention about what I am doing in order to call for collection. No. They invite me to come to lead the retreat. I just do my job, lead the retreat. They say, Thầy, you can raise money. You can ask for help. I say, no. You don't invite me to come here to do that. You invite me to come here to give Dhamma talk. Then I only will do my job. It's giving Dhamma talk. Sometimes we learn to do like that in life in order to make ourselves better. Not too much heavy. When things come, we will face and we will deal. When things gone, let it go. Things not coming yet, don't wait. Live wholeheartedly in the present moment. So I wholeheartedly put my effort to love and to teach and to support my students who are still in my hand. I will do all my best to support them, to help them, to love them. But nothing I expected, because I know impermanent. I know everything comes as a condition. And I know that the more we attach, the more we suffer. You can love, but make sure you have a great love rather than an attachment love. Avalokiteshvara, the statue back behind me, symbolizes for love without any discrimination. The equivalent of love. Even things or people, we love the same. Last night I have a class for the novices, and I have mentioned this to them. When you respect and love, make sure you understand the right way of Buddhism. Not only respect people or love people, but you also love and respect materials or animals. Because we love and respect, that's why we learn not to hurt animals by vegetarian. When we put back the mat or the cushion, don't just come and throw there. Oh, just a mat. No way. But we have to learn to put them properly, because in the past 1.5 hours, this mat helped us to sit comfortable. Then why, after we have done, we just throw it away like we don't care about it? And this is not what we should practice. If you have the right view on impermanent, things will change. That's why I will appreciate and help us as much as I can. One day there was a young novice watering the plant. And some people come in and say, hey, you learn Buddhism and you know everything is impermanent. Then why you have to water? And the novice is very insight, very mindful. And he said, yes, because it's impermanent. That's why I learned to water it. Because everything will change. That's why I will try to protect it as much as I can. Impermanent or suffering or emptiness doesn't mean I am destroyed. But I have to appreciate and mindfully using them. It's the same as I know one day I will live. You all will live. Then what we will do? We will appreciate, we will wholehearted respect and try to make each other happy as much as we can. This is what we call right view about life. So do not lose ourselves for the past or the future, dwelling ourselves wholeheartedly in the present moment. Because we have the view on the truth. The truth of this life is impermanent. It's suffering, it's emptiness, and no self. Look like they are very negative. But if you look deeply, and you will see they are very positive, because these help us to live more mindfully, more meditation. So if you're able to live like that, you don't have to declare, I am a Zen master, but actually you are. Everywhere you live with meditation. Zen is the term in Japanese. It means meditation. Sometimes you will see some book, they say Zen living, Zen master, Zen practitioner. The English translation, the one who practices meditation. So become a Zen teacher, a Zen lecturer, a Zen living everywhere you live, everywhere you come. Mindfulness will help us to calm. Insights only appear when we have mindfulness and concentration. So you say, I want to attain insight. Insight cannot happen by itself. Again, this is what we call no self. Insight cannot appear by itself. Insight appears by the one who practices mindfulness and concentration. If you're able to walk mindfully, of course you will calm yourself. And the minute you calm yourself, you will see, oh wow, I appreciate every step I can make. Time flies very fast. We prepare Christmas, we shopping for gifts, and now it's end of March. Sometimes we just shock. It's March already, it's April already. So therefore, time flies. And if we don't have mindfulness to live, we're unable to stop ourselves down. We continue to run, to chase. But after a long day, a long time of chasing, nothing. When I am about 17 years old, I make a poem about the moon. And I remember the title of my poem is called Impermanent Moon. Because one day I see the little pond after a raining day, and the moon reflects. And I image a group of kids can think that is the moon. They try to catch the moon. They try to grab the moon. But after a while, they're so tired, but they're unable to do anything with the moon. And that is my poem. We are the same. We're searching for the fame. We are fighting for the position. But after all, what we have? Only a bare hand. And the ignorance of fame, the ignorance of position, of money, of the desires cover up our insight. And one day we'll see. We understand the moon reflecting on the pond is not real. What we see close, very close, but they are not real. We think we can grab, we think we can take, we can think we can save it. No, we cannot do anything with the moon on the pond, reflecting on the pond. Even the throne of the king. The king have a lot of power, but the king cannot do anything with impermanence. The king cannot do anything with the truth of impermanence, the truth of suffering, the truth of emptiness, the truth of no self. If the king have the right view on these four things, he will be a good king. He will never have a lot of impetus to keep his throne, but he will live as a king. He will use his term to do something for his people. So if we understand, we don't have much time left. Every day can be the Last Supper. So not only that day will be the Last Supper, but the Last Supper can be happen every day. Then we will have a supper with peace, with joy, with happiness. Please practice deep so we all can have the right view. And when we have the right view like this, our life is more meaningful. We will create and offer a lot of peace and joy for our loved one. Love is not only words, but love will happen by how we live, how we treat each other. May you be happy, peace, with your right view. Thank you for your listening. Thank you for your presence.